Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 8th Seminar of Translation. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Sarah Christabel Raisa, and I will be the moderator for today's conference. And I would like to thank Sir Haris, the presenters, the student judges, and the audience for joining the conference. And now I will be giving a brief overview on today's conference. There will be two presenters today, and each are given 20 minutes to deliver their presentation. And after each presentation, there will be a 10-minute question and answer session. The audience may deliver questions to the presenters by using the raise hand feature available in Zoom, or you may type your questions directly to the chat box. Now, let me introduce the first presenter, Gabriella Melani. Before we welcome her, I will be reading her profile. Gabriella Melani is an undergraduate student from Universitas Sanata Dharma. She was a member of the Illustrator Division of Integrity from 2019 to 2020. And she was also a parallel conference chair at the 7th Literary Studies Conference in 2019. And she also has contributed papers to ELUC in 2020 and to ELTLT in 2021. Without any further ado, Gabriella, the time is yours.
Okay, is my voice audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, Gabi.
Oh, okay. So I will start now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Gabriella Melani, or you can also call me Gabi for short. Today, I'm going to present my research entitled The Mandarin English YouTube Subtitles of Michael Wong's Fairy Tale Song, a study of translation shift occurrence. So without further ado, let's get to the background of the study. So the background of this research is based on a recent phenomena in which people have gained interest in learning Mandarin as a language to level up their skills, whether for personal purposes or work-related purposes. For work-related purposes, this fact is supported by the growing relationship between China and Indonesia in the economic sector that has developed well over the years. And to accommodate to this demand, many universities and schools have offered Mandarin as a major or a course or school subject. However, aside learning from these institutions, Mandarin can also be learned in a fun way. For example, by listening to Mandarin songs and reading the translations or subtitles. Through translations or subtitles, such as found in YouTube's caption, new Mandarin learners can learn more about Mandarin. They can learn new vocabularies or familiarize themselves with the language. So when translating from Mandarin to English, shift may occur as these language systems and forms are different from each other, and this may confuse new Mandarin learners. This shift is famously known as translation shift. Catford defines it as the departure from formal correspondence in the process of translation from the source language to the target language. And the object of this research is the Mandarin English YouTube subtitles of Wong's Fairy Tale, and the song is released in 2005, but the music video itself was re-released by Rock Records YouTube channel in 2012. The song is chosen as it is a popular Mandarin song, and popular songs are often recommended as one of many alternatives for learning new language. And the objective of this research is to scrutinize the translation shift that occurred in the Mandarin English subtitles of Michael Wong's fairy tale. Through examining the translation shift between this language pair, this research could illustrate the process of how the form and system were shifted between Mandarin and English to language scholars or Mandarin learners. And here is a brief explanation of translation shift. Katherines classifies translation shift into level shift and category shift. He then further divided category shift into four. There are structure shift, unit or rank shift, class shift, and intrasystem shift. For level shift, according to Katherines, it occurs whenever a ST item at one linguistic level has a TT translation equivalent at a different level. This shift usually concerns a shift from word to grammar and vice versa. The next is structure shift. It is a type of category shift in which the word order was shifted in the process of translating from ST to TT. And the next is class shift. Katherines explained that class shift occurs when the source text translation equivalent is discovered to be in a different class in the target text. This shift concerns the shifting of the part of speech. And next is the unit or rank shift, and according to Katherines, it occurs when the translation equivalent of a unit at one rank in the ST is a unit at a different rank in the TT. In this shift, a word from the ST can be translated as a phrase or a morpheme in the TT. And the last one is intrasystem shift. Katherines defines intrasystem shift as the translation between the ST systems and the TT systems, in which both have a non-corresponding system. For example, the English plural noun students is translated as murid-murid in Indonesian. The noun students indicates its plurality with inflection S, while the noun murid-murid with repetition. And here is a very brief theory of Mandarin grammar. So Mandarin and English may share several identical features such as subject, verb, object, sentence structure. However, there are also some differences. In Mandarin sentences, the subject can be omitted in some cases if possible. And the second, besides subject prominent structure, the topic prominent structure is also commonly utilized in Mandarin, which makes the object subject verb structure possible. And third, the predicate in Mandarin can also be in the form of nouns and adjectives. And fourth, non-finite verbs do not exist in Mandarin. Moving on, there are no tenses in Mandarin. Aspect markers, time adverbial, and modal verbs are applied instead. And next, inflection is not a vital aspect of Mandarin. However, it can be discovered in possessive pronouns and plural personal pronouns. And the last one, Mandarin plural common nouns can be indicated by numerals and measure words. And this is the methodology of this research. This research applied a qualitative method. And for the data collection, the Mandarin lyrics and English subtitles were taken from Wong's fairy tale official music video posted by the Rock Records channel. I searched for the official music video on the channel. Then I made sure whether the Mandarin lyrics and English subtitles were provided in the music video's caption. And after confirming that they were available, I collected the lines of both captions. And for the data samplings, no data sampling is taken, meaning that all data population were analyzed. And next is the data analysis. I applied library research method to achieve information regarding Katherines translation shift theory and Mandarin grammar theory. I also applied explicatory method to help in identifying and categorizing the translation shifts. And here are the findings of this research. There are 5 occurrences of level shift, 18 occurrences of structure shift, 7 occurrences of unit shift, 5 occurrences of class shift, and 25 occurrences of intrasystem shift. But before we move on into the discussion, I actually want to point out that in the paper, I used a wrong data coding. Because my areas of research are subtitles, I should have used data coding for subtitles. So in the discussion here, there will also be an additional timestamps. So here, the first shift that I want to discuss is the level shift with Lexis Love. and this occurrence can be found in the first line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. So in this occurrence, the lexis from the ST functioning as an aspect marker which indicates an action completion was translated into English grammar have plus verb 3. And next is level shift with lexis tau. And this occurrence can be found in the second line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. And in this occurrence, the lexis tau was translated into English grammar have plus verb 3. And the lexis tau in this occurrence describes the meaning of showing an action's result. Next is the structure shift on the phrase level. This occurrence can be found in the first line of the third stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the ST's prepositional phrase, "통화리," with the structure had post modifier, was translated into the TT prepositional phrase in the fairy tales, with the pre-modifier had structure. Next is the structure shift on clause level. This occurrence can be found in the first line of the second stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the ST 你哭着对我说 with the structure subject, verb, object, verb was translated into English, you cried and told me, with the structure subject, verb, conjunction, verb, object. The conjunction "and" was added in order to make the sentence more acceptable in the English TV. Next is the unit shift from phrase to word. And this occurrence can be found in the sixth line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the ST's phrase, 是不是, which is usually found in Mandarin yes or no question, was translated into TT's word or auxiliary verb, did, which is also usually discovered in the English yes or no question. Next is still on the unit shift, but from the word to phrase level. And in this occurrence can be found in the fifth line of the third stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the word 结局, which means ending, was translated into English phrase our end, in which the possessive determiner our was added to emphasize that happiness and joy will be the couple's fate or ending. And next is class shift from verb to adjective. This occurrence can be found in the sixth line of the second stanza or in these timestamps. So in this occurrence, the verb 亮, which means shine or light, was translated into the adjective bright lit, which was utilized to modify the noun stars. And next is class shift from adverbial phrase to prepositional phrase. This occurrence can be found in the fourth line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the ST's adverbial phrase 很久, meaning very long, as in time duration long, was translated into the TT's prepositional phrase for a long time. Although it was shifted into a different class in the TT, both Mandarin and English phrases still have the same meaning. And next is the intrasystem shift. But before we dive deeper into intrasystem shift, I want to clarify that actually there is a mistake again in the paper. So in the paper, I wrote that there are 9 types of intrasystem shift, but actually it should be 8 when I check it again. So the data for table 15 with verb to verb plus ed occurrence and table 16 with the verb to verb plus en occurrence should be classified into verb to irregular verb form. So for the first intrasystem shift example, I will explain about the occurrence from verb to irregular verb form. So this occurrence can be found in the first line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the Mandarin verb 忘, which means forget, was translated into English irregular past participle verb forgotten with an additional inflectional suffix en. Here it should be noted that Mandarin verb does not have any inflection or irregular verb form. And next is intrasystem shift from verb to verb plus ed. This occurrence can be found in the first line of the second stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the Mandarin verb 哭, which means cry, was translated to the English past simple cry, with cry plus inflectional suffix ed as the word formation. Next is the intrasystem shift from singular to plural. This occurrence can be found in the sixth line of the second stanza or in these timestamps. In this occurrence, the st noun sing sing was translated into the English plural stars with the inflectional suffix s. The Mandarin noun sing sing itself was not preceded by a major word, making the Mandarin noun possible to be alternatively translated as the English singular noun star. And the last one is the intrasystem shift with pronoun the, pronoun plus the to possessive adjective. This occurrence can be found in the fifth line of the first stanza or in these timestamps. So in this occurrence, the Mandarin pronoun ni, which means you, was combined with the, a suffix that indicate possessiveness. This combination was translated as the English your, a possessive adjective form of the pronoun you. So in conclusion, with 35 occurrences, intrasystem shift is the translation shift type that occurred the most. It is then followed by the structure shift with 18 occurrences, unit or rank shift with 7 occurrences, and both level shift and class shift with 5 occurrences each. And inter-system shift may occur the most because Mandarin and English possess some systems that are only unique to each of them. And that is all from me. Thank you very much for the attention.
Okay, thank you, Gaby, for your presentation. And we will now be moving to the Q&A session. And I will invite the student judges to deliver their commentary and questions first.
Hello, Gaby. Congratulations for your presentation. I really enjoy your presentation, especially since you analyzed Mandarin song, which is interesting for me because I got new knowledge about it. So, Gaby, maybe I can just start delivering the comment first about your format paper. I see that your line spacing are different in several paragraphs. So there are a single space, but there are multiple spaces. So I think it will be nice if you can manage the line spacing equally. So I think that's all comments from me. Let's move to the questions. So Gaby, why did you choose Michael Wong's fairy tale? I mean, what makes it different from the other Mandarin songs?
Actually, of course, I think in the introduction, I already explained that actually this specific Michael Wong's song is a popular song, but I think this song is actually popular on another level because I think everyone who has a link with Mandarin, either a strong or weak one, like know this song. So usually Mandarin teachers like to recommend songs for the students to learn because it is easier. And I also think that the lyrics in this song is actually not that complicated. It is like I think the word in the lyrics we can found in daily conversation in Mandarin, and that is why I chose this song.
Okay. So, do you think is it enough to just analyze one song as your data of your research? Since, as we can see, that mostly the other students analyzing using more than one source as their data of the research.
Yeah, I think just like other research, of course, it will be better if uh, there is another source that can be used as a comparison. But because this research is actually challenging to me, I think it is a great start to take one source from the Mandarin English language pair, like as a new start, because usually people do some research only in English or English Indonesian or Indonesian English pair, And I think, yeah, it is a great start because it is a challenge too. Is that okay?
Okay. Thank you for your question, as for your answer. Then, do you think the English translation in the target text is understandable enough for the target audience?
I think yes, it is understandable enough. Like for someone who doesn't like only started to learn Mandarin to understand the lyrics, but uh, in terms of like to enjoy the lyrics, I think it is not aesthetic enough. So the translation is only telling like the literal translation of the Mandarin lyrics.
Okay, thank you, Gaby, for answering my question.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
all the question from me.
Okay, thank you for the question.
Well, hello, Gabby.
Hello, Ellie.
I'm pretty sure that this presentation will leave some burden on your shoulder because one of the tasks already complete now. We can go straight to my comment. My comment is that I think that you could like push the camera a little bit back, but if it like it's inconvenient, like there's something that
Okay.
will distract the audience, then it is all right. Yeah, it's right.
Okay.
Next, I think that is all my comment.
Okay, thank you.
Like we will go to my question. My question is why you choose to focus your research on the translation shift. Why not like it is you said that it is subtitle. Why don't it's like subtitling strategies or like the equivalence or the reliability?
Uh, oh, okay. I want to analyze the translation shift because, first of all, I think translation shift is a theory that is actually really linked with the linguistic aspect of the language. So, I am also a little bit curious about the linguistic aspect of Mandarin. So, I want to actually compare it with the English one. It actually started when I listened to this song. So the first thing that I noticed is that in the first line, in the Mandarin lyrics, there is actually no subject on the lyrics, while in the English subtitle, there is the subject is actually added. So that is how I started to be curious about what happened between these two language. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What and then what make you interest? What drawn your attention to uh, focusing on Mandarin to English? Why not like for like the other student? They like usually use like in English and Indonesian, or like the vice versa.
Uh, the first reason is because I actually want to challenge myself because, as you said earlier, many students conducted research mostly in Indonesian English or English Indonesian. So that is the first reason. The second reason is that because I want to improve my Mandarin through conducting this research.
Oh, okay, that is really great.
Yeah.
And that is all my question. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you to the judges for the comments and the questions. And now it is time for the audience. And there is already one question in the chat box from Yemima. She said, hello, Gabby. It's great that you're doing research on the Mandarin English YouTube subtitles of Michael Wong's fairy tale song, a study of translation shift appearance. As we know, it's unusual and difficult. So, Gabby, is there any difficulties when you write your proposal?
Yes. First of all, thank you for the question. And the answer is yes, because I actually grew up knowing Mandarin through like conversational, daily conversation with my family, and I never learned about the grammatical aspect of the language. So when I first started to do this research, I actually panicked a little bit because I have to search for many book for references. But eventually, I can overcome it. Is that answering your question? Oh, okay. Thank you, Yagima.
Okay, now there is another question from Miliana in the chat box. And she said, hi, Mel. That was an impressive presentation. I adore the way you can briefly analyze and explain the translation shift in Wong's song. What do you expect your research will be in the future, and is it difficult to find some studies that are relevant to yours?
Okay, thank you, May, for the question. What do I expect my research will be for the future? I hope my research could inspire people, I think, to conduct more research in Mandarin, or maybe to gain interest in learning Mandarin. Maybe not limited to the conversational only, but also the linguistic, maybe, so that they can improve themselves in that. And the next one is it difficult to find some studies that are relevant to in terms of the Mandarin and English? Actually, yes. So far, I have only found two, and there is actually also one, but that is from Mandarin to Indonesian. So that is my answer. Is that answering? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, and next there is Vihita. You may unmute your mic.
Hi, Gaby. Congratulations for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, I have several questions. I hope you don't mind. First of all, I noticed that the song that you chose are pretty old. It is released on 2005, right? And the first question is why you chose an older song instead of the newer song? Is it because the newer song have more English in it, or why? That is the first question. And I also noticed you mentioned about there is no subject in the song. Usually, it also happened in Korean, and I believe in Japanese too, if I'm not mistaken. If they talking in daily conversation, they rarely use subjects in it. Except when they write something formal, they will use subject maybe. But usually, even in dramas and films, they rarely use subjects. Is it will create difficulties when a translator want to shift those language into another language? Can you understand my questions?
Okay. I will try to answer the first one, and then if I forget the question, I will ask again.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So why did I choose an old song? that is released in 2005. Because I think although this song is old, it's still popular until now, and I think everyone, like I said earlier, everyone who has a link, somehow a link, with Mandarin, either like they know how to speak Mandarin or they have learned Mandarin before, like they know about this song. And this day is mostly, I think, is a someone who can teach like other people Mandarin. And I don't know why, but every Mandarin teacher that have taught me always recommend like this song to learn more about Mandarin.
Okay. So it's like the wedding song
Yes.
that we usually heard. Okay, okay. I think maybe because it's like a basic song too, I guess. What is it about exactly? The song. What is it talking about?
Mm, it's about like a guy, I think,
Mm-hmm. Fall in love.
who wished to be someone's guardian angel or something,
Ah,
I think.
okay, okay. All right. So, because it is a basic song. Now, for the second questions, do you still remember it?
No, I think you have to read it again.
Okay. Um, you mentioned before that in Mandarin, usually, they don't use subject. Especially if we talk with someone who is already fluent in Mandarin, because it also happened in Korean. So when we speak, it also happened in bahasa Indonesia. So when we ask, "Kamu udah makan?" Atau "What are you doing?" gitu ya. "Kamu lagi ngapain?" We will say makan instead of aku lagi makan gitu. So I think it also happened in many language. When we are fluent, we really use subject. Well, in English, we need to always use subjects in our sentence. Do you think it will create a problem when a translator wants to shift from Mandarin to English, or the otherwise,
Mm,
to from English to Mandarin?
I think it's not really a problem because the translator can actually like read the whole text or lyrics or something to understand the context of the text itself. For example, in these lyrics, in the fairy tale lyrics, it's actually like a shape, I think, like a monologue from like a boy to a girl. So uh, the translation should know that this lyrics is told in a first person perspective. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, the translator need to take a look at the bigger picture too. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Ah, okay, okay. I think that's all from me. Thank
Thank
you.
you for the questions.
Okay, next there is a question from Nadia. You may unmute your mic now.
Okay, so I think it's a great presentation, Gaby. I actually wanna ask two questions. So I will say the first one. So and then you will answer, and then I will continue to the second question. So the first one is that is it possible that the lyrics of your object has somehow a cultural context in which that Catford ship doesn't capture this? You know that uh, there is criticism on Catford ships that it's too linguistic and not including what is it cultural references like that. Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. Actually, when I read the lyrics, there is actually I don't find any cultural word in it because it's only like a casual like conversation. from the singer to the other person that he wants to refer to.
So probably in your future thesis, you won't add, for example, like semantic shift or pragmatic shift like that. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So move on to the second question. Since I'm not really familiar with the language, I think it is kind of out of topic from your research. So I see that Chinese has very wide kind of divisions, say like Cantonese, like that. What is the difference between Mandarin and other Chinese language? I mean, is it Mandarin the standard of all Chinese language like that?
I will answer based on what I know. I think how like Mandarin, how Mandarin works is like Indonesia, bahasa Indonesia that is used in Indonesia as the national language, while the other like the Cantonese or Teochew Hokkien or Kek is like the other traditional language like Jawa, bahasa Jawa, bahasa Sunda, bahasa Batak, like that.
So it's it's the standard, right? For example, maybe informal like situation.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's all from my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. And now there is a question in the chat from Ray. He said, "Hi, Gabby. Congrats on your presentation. Really thorough explanation, and I adore your mastery on both Mandarin and English. I'd like to ask you some questions. The first one is, what is the significance of this particular song other than that it is a recommended to new learners of Mandarin? And the second one, do you find any obstacles during analyzing the song since you already understood both English and Mandarin and going back and forth?"
Okay, thank you, Ray, for the question. For the first one, what is the significance of this? I think, like I have mentioned before, it is a quite popular song. Yeah, that is used to recommend. Oh, I think the other aspect is that the lyrics is actually not that difficult and not that complex, and the word is usually you can found the word often in daily conversational Mandarin. So I think if you already master these lyrics, the Mandarin lyrics, I can say that you already will get the base of Mandarin language, conversational one. And the second one is, do you find any obstacles during analyzing the song? I think I already answered this question, but I of course will answer it again. Of course, I find like obstacles during analyzing the song because, like I said before, I only master conversational Mandarin instead of the linguistic Mandarin. So the obstacles that I found is that I have to find like reference books about Mandarin, and I somehow have to master it in a short amount of time instead of learning it like Mandarin students like in university or in schools like that. Is that answering your question? Is that okay? Oh, okay, thank you for the questions.
Okay, and next we have Prayudi Wijaya. You may unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. What should I call you? Is it Gabriella or Melani?
Gaby, for sure.
Oh, Gaby. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know you. I don't know you personally because I'm like years before you admitted in Sanata Dharma. So I would say once again that this is particularly interesting because the song was just played out in my playlist just before I joined this presentation. So secondly, usually in when I take linguistic classes in UGM, usually we're only allowed to research languages that we are learned or we are native in. So I guess I will assume that you are native in Chinese then. Is this right?
You can say so. I think.
Okay. Now my question. You briefly mentioned that English is subject prominent and Chinese, Putonghua, Chinese is Mandarin is topic prominence. Do you know what this means or?
Yeah, I actually know what this means. In the one of my reference book it is actually mentioned that the topic prominent. Some people recognizes like the object, subject, verb as the topic prominent, but actually, because there is actually like another form of topic prominent, but I didn't really discuss it here because in my paper I mentioned that to general I didn't really use like a deep theory, a more deep theory about Mandarin. So I only used the general one because I didn't want to be like really focused on the Mandarin that I like didn't focus with the translation shift itself.
Okay, it's okay. I'm not testing you or anything. I'm just want to point out that it is interesting that you mentioned Chinese is topic prominence because in structural pragmatics, we know there are topic and comment. Topic is what is discussed about, and comment is the discussion itself. So in Chinese, the most important thing is what is discussed about. So that is why it's called subject prominence. The reason why I asked this is because if Chinese is subject prominence, then we can expect that the translation in English will somehow show some additions, some interpretation from the translator. So why didn't you choose to analyze this translation from the point of view of, for example, addition and omission? Because we can expect more than that, rather than translation shift. You get what I'm asking?
I think from what I read, I think translation shift actually also have this kind of like omission and addition, such as found in structure shift.
Okay, because for example, like in your data, you mentioned Tong Huali. Tong Huali is translated as Jie is translated as our end. Yeah. The possessive pronoun our is only the interpretation of the translator. So I think it does not really the translation of the Jie, the word Jie, but the interpretation of the whole sentences. So I think it's just my comment. I think it will be more interesting if you analyze this in terms of addition and omission and so on. That's what I'm talking. Okay. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now, does anyone else in the audience want to ask a question to Gaby? You may raise your hand or type it in the chat box. Okay, I think there is no more question, and I think we will end the first session with Gaby. And once again, Gaby, thank you for your presentation and for answering the questions. Now we will move on to the second presenter of the day, Nanda Kresnatara. And I will now read his profile first. Nanda Kresnatara is a 21-year-old undergraduate student from Wonogiri, Central Java, and is registered as an active student of English Letters at Universitas Sanata Dharma, Yogyakarta. He is passionate about learning language, especially Russian. Other than that, UI UX design is another skill taking his attention. And he mostly loves writing poems, and he also had a short story published on the Integrity website. And without any further ado, Nanda, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Raisa. Okay, wait a minute, let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Still loading.
What about now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Today, especially this evening, I'm going to be delivering my paper on translation shift into text types, Irina song and Vladimir Putin's speech. Okay, so without further ado, let's proceed into the introduction. Okay, first of all, in the introduction part, I think we all are aware that communication is very vital to our lives because, through communication, we can transfer our ideas to the other people, and then the other people can actually respond to ours. So, and that's what people call a two-way communication, because there's a feedback, there's a response. But communication is not always a two-way communication. It is also a one-way communication. For example, like in newspaper or advertisement. Because in advertisement, for example, what they're trying to do is to promote the product, and in the newspaper they're trying to be informative. And this one-way communication actually lies in the information itself, because it presents ideas, knowledge, facts, and opinion. And through these the two examples, like I mentioned before, the newspaper and the advertisement, they both are different texts, because in newspaper the purpose is trying to inform the readers, while the advertisements, the purpose is trying to promote the product. And these two examples are what Katherines called as text types. Okay, so text type here is emphasized the sense and the meaning over the literal meaning. So, like I said, like I previously mentioned before, for example, the newspaper or the advertisement, the emphasis is in the purpose of the text. So in the purpose of the text, the newspaper, they want to inform the reader about the news. And then the advertisement, for example, they want to promote about the product. And for example, like any other example is a poem, for example. What they're trying to do is to express the author's feelings. And then when we know that these three examples, the poem, for example, the poem in the newspaper and also advertisement, since they are different in purpose, so it means that in other language, it means they have to retain the sense and the meaning. Because if the sense or the meaning is lost, then it's lost in the target text. So for example, like advertisement, if let's say I am promoting a product, but when it's translated into another language, the product is lost, then it's lost. So that's why there's a translation shift, because a translation shift retains the sense and the meaning of the source text. And then let's pop down to the theory. So I'm using two theories here, Katherines translation shift and the Katherines text types. First of all, cat for translation shift. Cat for translation shift, it is actually, the main key here is the linguistic element. So the linguistic elements, for example, like a morphology or the other linguistic elements like that, it is actually the main key here. But since what is an initial shift, so the main focus here is the grammar and the lexis. And the shift here is divided into two types, the level shift and category shift. The level shift is, let's say, is the general one, while the category shift is the specific one. So the level shift here, for example, in Indonesian, or let's say in English, I am eating, but in Indonesian it is translated into saya sedang makan. So what the level shift is trying to achieve is the equivalence between the source text and target text. And in the category shift here, we have 4: structural, unit, class, and intrasystem shift. The structural shift is the word order. So for example, like in English, a blue book, and Indonesian is translated into buku biru. So the blue here is adjective, and then book is the noun, but the Indonesian is translated into buku biru. So the noun comes first, and after that, the adjective. And then we have a unit shift. A unit or rank shift is the, for example, like the change in the word or word to phrase or phrase to sentence, something like that. And then the class shift is the change in the parts of speech. So for example, like a noun to verb, or verb to adjective, or adjective to noun, something like that. And the last one is the intrasystem shift. The intrasystem shift is the change in the internal, so in the internal of the language. So this one is, we can say that this one is the grammar. So for example, like in English, a blue book, like in the structural shift before, a blue book is translated into buku biru. English has article, but Indonesian doesn't have. So the Indonesian singled out because there's no rule as an article. So that is the intrasystem shift. And then the second one here is the race text types. Race text types, Katherines divides it into 4 characteristics: informative, expressive, operative, and hybrid. Informative here, it contains logical facts, knowledge, and then opinion. And then the expressive, it expresses the author feelings. Operative, it means to appeal the readers or to attract the readers. And then the last one is hybrid. Hybrid is a combination between these 3. It could be informative, expressive, expressive, informative, or operative, expressive, and etc. And then, for example, here, informative is a newspaper, expressive is a poem, and then operative here is an advertisement, a discount. Hybrid, for example, YouTube. If you guys watch Copycat channel there, I said it's a hybrid because I think it's a combination between informative and expressive, because other than it has the informative, the logical facts, but also it is very interesting to see that the expression of the author. It also could be an informative and operative, because other than providing logical facts and knowledge or knowledge, information, or opinion, it also tries to invite us to do something. For example, like a global warming, let's say. So the presented fact there is the global warming, and at the end of the video, maybe the author wants us to promote about global warming, that it is actually endangered, that it is actually endangering our Earth, and the author wants us to save the Earth, something like that. So it's a hybrid text type or audio-medial text. And then as for the objects here, I chose Vladimir Putin's speech is actually entitled "The or Victory Day." Actually, my object is taken from a music match, but a few days ago, the website was down, so I had no choice but to take a screenshot of it as for the illustration. And then as for the methodology, of course, I'm applying qualitative, library research, and interpretative method. In qualitative research, since I'm not dealing with any numbers or statistics, and I'm dealing with the analysis, so I'm using it. And then the library research, my sources are books, journals, and the song lyrics, and the video. And the last one is the interpretative method. It's actually a combination between the qualitative and the library research, since I'm doing analysis by using the sources. So I hope at the end I could get the conclusion from the analysis. And then as for the problem formulation, what types of translation shift occurred in the Medina song and Vladimir Putin's speech? Okay, so well, let's get into the analysis. Okay, so here we go. The first analysis in the first data, it is an intrasystem shift. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the romanization here, but it is read Adinaki Stranik Patrial Svayu Darugu is translated in English into a lone wanderer lost his way. So the intrasystem shift that appears is the Russian does not require article. So Adinaki here is it stands by itself, but in English it requires article, so it requires a lone. And then the reflexive pronoun of Svayu, reflexive pronoun in Russian and in English is quite different. In Russian, it uses reflexive pronoun because if the subject is still linear with the previous subject, so we use that reflexive pronoun. In English, actually, it is translated into his, like that one, but in English, it uses possessive determiner. I think it's because there is no way for English to use the reflexive pronoun because it's completely different. If it uses the reflexive pronoun, it becomes a lone wanderer lost himself way instead of his way. So the English uses the possessive determiner. And then the accusative case affects the reflexive pronoun as well as the noun darogu. And so the Russian has cases, so 6 cases. And in this one, in this data, it is the accusative. Accusative, it means the case after the case that happens in the objects. So any other words that is considered as an object, especially the noun or the noun phrase, so it is changed, the form is changed, okay? So here, Paterial actually is lost his way. His way is actually the object. And then this Svayu Darogu has to change the form into the accusative case. So actually it is translated, actually the basic form is Daroga. Daroga is feminine, and because it is changed to the accusative verbs, accusative case, it becomes Darogu. And here Svayu follows the noun. So actually the basic one is Svoi, but then it is changed following the noun, it becomes Svayu. But in English, it doesn't have any change at all. So lost its way, it just remains as is. And then the second data here, class shift and structural shift. Igdetov Daleke Dalyoka Zdodjevana is translated into and somewhere far away she is waiting for him. So Daleke acts as an adjective, while Dalyoka acts as an adverb. While in English, it is Daleke Dalyoka it is translated into far away, which is an adverbial phrase. Well, actually, the Daleke Dalyoka is a complex adverb, but Daleke is an adjective and Dalyoka is an adverb. The complex adverb in Russian is usually a combination between parts of speech, and also plus Daleke Dalyoka is a repetition. So this one is quite unique actually, because complex Daleke Dalyoka, other than it consists of parts of speech, also it's a repetition. And then the word order of Zdodjevana is translated into she is waiting for him, and in English it states that it's, but the difference is that in English the word order is subject, verb, and object. She is the subject, is waiting for is the verb, and the him is the object. But in Russian it doesn't necessarily so. So the first actually that comes up is not the subject, but rather is the verb, and Yevo is the object, while Anna is the subject. So the Russian word order is flexible, but in English you can't invert that. So the word order in English is fixed. And then the third data, again, intrasystem shift. Nonu Pramoveril Glaza is translated into, but he stubbornly believed that he would find peace in her eyes. Again, this is case like in the previous one, but this one is a prepositional case. So any other noun phrase that takes place after the preposition, so there's a prepositional case. And this one is the Vyayo Glaza. Actually, it's glass. Okay, I is masculine in Russian, but since the preposition becomes glaza. But the glaza here actually is also the part of the plural form. So it's not only changing in the prepositional case, but also in the plural form. And then in English, there's no such thing as cases, but in English it's just the change is just in the word ice. So the singular is I, and it becomes ice. And then the fourth one is the intro. There are intrasystem shift, level shift, and unit shift. The first one is of course the prepositional case is quite similar with the previous one. Vive razume. Razum is the masculine, and then the prepositional makes it the different, and it becomes razume. And then the second one is the imperfective aspect. The imperfective aspect is the kachayat. Actually, Russian has tenses, the same as English, but the Russian only has 2 tenses, while English has 16 tenses. Plus, in Russian, it has aspect, although English does have aspect as well. But the Russian aspect here is quite specific. So, for example, like the imperfective aspect here, kachayat. Sorry, the imperfective is quite general than the English aspect. The imperfective aspect here, for example, kachayat in Russian, it could be 2 different things. It could be kachayat as in this one is shaking. It could be kachayat as in the past, in the present tense, as in the repeated actions. But this one is actually, but in English, this one is the progressive aspect. And then I think I haven't mentioned this in my paper, word to phrase. This in the bad weather. So Nyapagoda is a word, and then in English it's translated into bad weather. So it's a noun phrase. The fifth data, Shivmeste, is translated into all together, but unfortunately there's no shift fan. And then the sixth data is the structural shift. Here, actually it's quite the same way with the previous data, but what is different is that the adverb of the time here starts in the beginning. In Russian, okay, in Russian it starts at the beginning, while the subject starts at the back. In English, actually, English also it could the adverb could be placed in the beginning, in the middle, or in the back. If it's placed in the beginning, let's say night and day, and then comma, the eternal flame burns here, but the night and day here is still put at the back. This is the effect of the rima and tema. The rima in Russian, it is information that is put in the last, while tema is information that's put in the beginning. Why is it put in the last? Because it is to emphasize or to inform that the information is actually unique, important, or unknown. So here, Vietni Agon, here in the English translation becomes the eternal flame. It becomes the subject. Why? Because it is something important. Because the event, the context of the speech is talking about the victory day of the Russians. So the eternal flame here, the noun is actually becomes very important. It's a memory, so it's put in front. While night and day, it is not really important. Because why? Because it is known, it happens every day, it is common, and we experience it every day. So yeah, so Vietnamese icon is put in the front, while DN Dutch is put in the back because of the Rima and Tima. And then the last data is the level shift. So Siam Diesiat Piat Liat Proshla is translated into 75 years have passed. Here is the aspect, again, the aspect, the level shift here. They actually both share the same aspect, the perfective aspect, but the difference is that the aspect in Russian, it means it's over. The perfective means it's over, it's done, it's finished. But in Russian, the perfective aspect, like present perfect, it's something that's still affecting us in the future, in the present. So for example, I say, I have done my homework. So you started in the past, and then let's say you've just done it, and then it affects it in the present because you've just done it. So there's a correlation between the past and the present. But in the perfective Russian is actually just in the past. So there's really no connection at all with the present tense, and it emphasizes the result, and the English emphasizes the process. So 75 years have passed in Russian. It actually presenting the fact that actually the event happened 75 years ago. So it doesn't have any correlation with this. And the celebration is actually to celebrate to reminisce about the past. And the 75 years have passed in English. The English translation is actually that the event happened 75 years. It actually still affecting us, although not the war, of course, but the celebration, because they're reminiscing, that they're celebrating about that, so there is still effect to them. So the point of view here is that 75 years in the Russian is complete, while the point of view in English, it means it's still affecting the present. So the conclusions here, of course, appears of various types of translation shift, mostly the intrasystem shift, because the Russian and English, they have completely different grammar, and it's very noticeable. And then one thing that I noticed the most is that the text type affects translation shift. So you can see that, from the song that the translation from the source text into the target text there, it preserves the naturalness, while the hybrid text, it actually preserves the content or the purpose of the text. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nanda, for your presentation. And we will now be moving on to the question and answer session. I am now inviting the student judges to give their commentary and questions for Nanda first, before we move on to the audience.
Hello, Nanda. Congratulations for your presentation. I think it is an interesting topic, yeah, since you choose to analyze translation shifts in Russian. Okay, maybe I can deliver the comments about your presentation first. In my opinion, maybe you can explain your material slower, because there might be audiences that missed the important point you explained.
Yeah,
But however, it's such a great presentation. Good job, Nanda.
Thank you very much.
And then for the format paper, firstly, I see that there is no indentation on each paragraph. So I think it will be nice if you can indent each paragraph in your paper. And then second is about your font. I see that you use different font types and size, such as Times New Roman 12 in several paragraphs and Cambria 11 in some paragraphs.
Yeah.
So I think it will be better if you can use the same font on each paragraphs. Okay, then for the questions, why did you choose to analyze translation shifts?
Well, like I think it's the same answer with Gabby, because this one is Russian, and because I want to deep down into the linguistic elements, and yeah, since the translation shift itself talks about the grammar and the lexis, so I think it would be really fascinating to see about the grammar change of the lexis change from the source text and the target text, instead of using the other theories.
Okay, so then what is your reason to choose translating Russian? Why not the other languages that may be more familiar to you?
I think I am more familiar with Russian instead of the other languages, although I am actually familiar with Japanese, but I don't learn it that much. I first started learning Russian when I was in senior school, when I was in grade 7, if I'm not mistaken. And to notice that actually this one is a fun language, so in this college, I think I'll try to challenge myself to see how much I can get on about that. And the other languages like Japanese, although I watch anime a lot, but it's just really difficult to understand that more than I think it's really difficult to understand the Japanese, and but Russian it is difficult. Russian is challenging. It is difficult, but I don't know. It's just like I can understand it much faster in Russian than in Japanese. Maybe it's because of the linguistics in Japanese. the alphabets themselves maybe, but in Russian they only have a Cyrillic alphabet, so I don't think that's that's a disturbance.
Okay. Then the last question.
Mhm.
Why do you choose a song and a speech as your sources? Because I see both of them are completely different.
Yes, that's a very good question. I chose song because I felt like song is a good media to transfer ideas or express, or to be an expressive media from the author to the listeners. So I also listen to songs a lot, and I find that it's just really interesting to study, not to study, to understand the meaning of the songs. So from that point on, I felt like, okay, maybe song is a good choice. And then I also chose to decide the speech, because I think speech are very important, because when it comes to speech, what is the important point is the content. So for example, like in the president speech or performance speech here, if the translator actually wrongly transfer the message here, I think it could be a huge, a huge disaster, because for example, like actually the president wants to say something that wants to actually the press, or let's break down an example. Let's say the president wants to encourage the people, but the translators might use wrong words or wrong diction, and then they get like not encouragement but discouragement. It could be a fatal mistake.
So, uh, do you find also the other difficulties during analyze the song or the speech?
Yes, I do a lot of difficulties, I would say. uh, Well, I think I clearly said that the Russian is much. I learned or grasped a faster Russian than the Japanese, but in fact, it is, expectation is not always as beautiful as reality. So although studying a lot, but I still find like the difficulties in there, like the cases and the verbs of motion, and then the aspects, the imperfective aspect, the perfective aspect is just completely different in English. I think I remember something from my French class, because this semester I'm taking French, and then the lecturer says that if you want to learn French, then you have to think like the Frenchmen do. So I think, yeah, because all this time I'm learning Russian like the way how the Englishmen do. So that's completely wrong. So I think I have to shift my mindset from learning like Englishman, but learning like Russian. So it's just yeah, I think that kind of mindset is that makes me that puts me in a difficult way.
Okay, Nanda. Thank you for your wonderful answer.
Mhm.
That's all my question.
Okay,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Agnes.
Okay. Hi, Nanda.
Hello, Ellie.
Thank you for delivering such an interesting topic.
Thank you,
It's
thank you.
really like not many people do research on Russian.
Mhm.
My my comment for you is that the layout for your presentation PPT is simple. It's great because there's not a lot of distraction,
Mhm.
and the explanation is also clear, but it just you speak too fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because when I get on things, I tend to press on myself.
Yeah. So there's something that left out or just not clear.
Mhm.
And then for my question, I think it's related to the previous question from the first judge. You comparing a song and speech. Is there any purpose for you to compare those two, or like something to achieve by doing that?
Yeah, I think I made myself clear before, because like song has facets, and then I listen to songs like a lot of time, and then I think it's a really important, or not important but interesting, uh if we study more than the translation of the song, because uh I mostly listen to non-English songs like Japanese and Russians, and then I find that like in the comment section, people like, you know instead of commenting like, wow, I like this song, blah 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 blah, something like praising the song, but they mostly like some people like they complain about the translation, like this should be translated to this should be translated to that, blah blah blah. So I think from that point on, I think it feels like maybe this one is a good chance to see that the translating seeing how the translation of the songs would be a great a purpose for that, because yeah, it's like, when you listen to songs, and then when you listen to translate when you read the translation, sorry, and you find out that like different from the song that you listen to, so like this one make me go. So instead of trying to enjoy, you feel like a bit disturbed, and yeah, that's for the song. And as for the speech, like I said before, because a speech is very important, like let's say a formal speech like that, when you talk to people, and when people get wrong assumption about you, that could be fatal, right? So for example, like you're talking about a global warming, but then the people get you on a different side. The people could say that, oh no about this, but actually you're telling the truth about the global warming is a dangerous, and then blah blah blah, but people get you wrong. So yeah, I think the point is that just want to achieve that the message is actually clear. It's like that.
Oh, okay. Uh,
Mhm.
I think that's all my question, because actually the question that I want to deliver already said by the first judge. Thank you
Mhm.
for your answer, Nanda.
Okay, thank you, Ellie.
Okay, thank you to the judges for the comments and the questions. And we will now be moving to the audience questions. And we already have a question in the chat box from Yunima. She said, hello, Nanda. Thanks for the great presentation. By the way, when you deliver your PowerPoint, you sound like a debater, which I enjoy. Cool. I'd like to know, are there any particular reasons you choose the Medina song and Vladimir Putin's speech as your object?
Okay, well, thanks for the question, Yemi. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that a lot. And as for the reasons, I don't think I have particular reason. It was all the objective reason, but for my personal reason, I like to listen to songs a lot, especially in Russian, because it's just a different from English and Japanese. And then as for the Medina song, uh, actually, this one is a bit, I don't know how to say, but in Russian, there are like a lot of songs, especially rap songs. And then there's no way I'm going to put rap songs with profanity in it to analyze. So I'm trying to find a more smooth song, and there you go, Medina by Jah Khalib. And yeah, plus for my personal taste, because Medina by Jah Khalib is a great song, so I'll try to choose it. And then oh, one more, because more a lot of Russian songs, I say a lot, so it means the other or not. the Russian songs are short in the lyrics, so I actually found more. Actually, my first object was not actually Medina, but the other songs. But the to fill in my data, it was not enough. So yeah, I chose a Medina song for that. And as for the speech, how do I say? I think in my personal taste as well, because it just happened that way, like really that way. When I looked up on YouTube, and then because at that time I think I was learning Russian, and then I was learning about the speaking, and then it popped up on my on the window, the suggestion, push Russian, learning learning Russian that way, the Vladimir Putin speech, Victory Day, and then I clicked that, and I felt like, oh, this is one good. This one is a good. This one is a good speech. And then when there's this assignment that, okay, maybe I took that as well, because that one is this one is really good. Yeah, that's just my personal taste is just like that.
Okay, thank you, Emima, for the question. And next, we have a question from Brigita. You may unmute your mic and ask me the question.
Hi, Nanda. What a topic.
Hello. Thank you.
Is really interesting. Russia is a unique language, in my opinion. I always thought it was a hard language, but it's actually a beautiful one. So, how long have you been learning Russian?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that one, the last one? Couldn't hear that clearly.
Oh, I'm sorry. How long have you been learning Russian?
Okay. I've been learning Russian for since I was in high school. So the first time I started learning it when I was in grade 7. At that time, I had a girlfriend. She was from Belarus. She was from Belarusia, and then because of that, I felt like, okay, maybe I tried to learn Russian. Although Belarusian is actually a completely different language, but the words, that's right, because they are one family. The language is one family. So I just happened to learn Russian instead of Belarusian at that time, and then we broke up, and then in a grade 11, I felt like, okay, maybe I tried to learn more about Russian, because it felt like the more I learned about it, the more I felt like this is fun. Like, when you do something you enjoy, you feel like, okay, this is fun, something like that. And not particular reasons actually.
Okay, so you learn it accidentally.
Yes, exactly. The same way I learned English. I learned English accidentally as well.
Okay then. So I noticed you use 2 different texts, like the others already mentioned before, and they are quite distinct. First one is for entertainment, and the other one is more formal. So in your opinion, which one of the texts that need to shift the most to deliver its true meaning?
I'm sorry, could
Hello?
you yes, could you repeat that, please? I think it's breaking up here.
Oh, I think it's my signal. I'm on my way, so wait. Hello, is it clear enough? Nanda?
Yes. Hello,
Okay.
I think it's clear now. You can
Okay.
proceed.
I noticed you use 2 different texts, and they are quite distinct. And in your opinion, which one of the texts that need to shift the most to deliver its true meaning?
I think, of course, the speech, because speech is important because it conveys meaning. So I think it actually the shift the most is actually yes, that's true, but okay, never mind. Let's just pop down to the main answer. I think it's the speech, because speech conveys a lot of meaning. And it's the importance, the degree of importance is more important in speech rather than a song. Song could be interpretative, right? Because let's say you're listening to one song, you are interpreting as that way, and then when your friend listens to your song, he or she interprets it another way. So yeah, like from that kind of way, it already produces two different interpretations. But in speech, uh, speech is like it presents information. It presents, like, let's say like let's say an elected speech. You want to do you are about to go, you're about to be elected, and then you have to do the speech, and then there's a informative, and then there's also the operative, because you present facts, you present knowledge, you present opinions in there. And also because you're doing a speech, so you also have to appeal the people so that they choose you. So I think this one is the more important because it brings more meaning. Songs, I think, although yeah, they are important as well, but songs is like more like an hello, Villa.
Hi. I cannot hear you. You just
Oh,
poof missing from me. I
oh,
think
really?
it's my
Maybe my internet
signal.
connection is a bit.
Okay. How about now?
Okay. Yeah, it's really
Ye-
clear.
Yeah. I think I just heard you from like song is important, but then you are missing from me. Can you repeat that?
Oh, okay, sorry. Actually, songs is important, but the degree of importance is not as important as the speech, because songs is interpretative, while speech, that one is way more important because it brings more meaning. It's like, let's say you are in an elected speech, you know, the person who is about to get elected, of course he will say, of course he will try to convey the information, the knowledge, the piece of opinion, for example, while bringing that information along with him. And the person also tries to appeal the people so that he is elected. So the degree importance here matters the most in speech rather than in songs. So I think the shift, of course, obviously, matters more in speech.
Ah, I see. Okay. And so do you think Russian are more complicated than English?
Do
The
you think
language,
what?
I mean.
Do you
Russian is more complicated than English.
Wow, it is way, 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 way complicated than English.
Uh-huh.
It is very
Um,
complicated.
and do you think, is it really complicated? So do you think that when we translate from Russian to English, we need
Mhm,
to shift a lot because there is no such equivalent
mhm,
meaning
mhm.
to, deliver the true meaning of it?
Yes, I think so. In my humble opinion, yes, because first of all, from the grammar part, Russian and English, they are completely different. In Russian, I'm sorry, in English, when you start a sentence, you need an article. Okay, that's one. You need an article. In Russian, they do not have article, and that counts one. So you are already shifting from that way. You are actually shifting from the beginning of from the beginning of the sentence. And
Mm-hmm.
what about the rest? The rest, let's say the sentence contains of verbs, contains of tenses,
Mm-hmm.
contains of pronouns. They are completely different again. Although Russian has tenses, but they actually, how do I say? They actually have two tenses. Sorry, two types of that. So in Russian they have three tenses, and then there's this verb aspect. Also English they have aspect as well, like the progressive aspect, the perfective aspect, like that. But in Russian, it is more than that. But when you say in English, I am eating or I have done, then it is actually talking about the ongoing process, right? But
Yes.
in Russian, it depends on whether you are using the imperfective or the perfective. And this perfective and imperfective, they have their own words. So when you say I do, like say just a basic verb, I do, okay, just I do, okay. In English, it's clear I do, it means like you're doing something, right? But it is not in Russian. I do, it could be, you can say do in Russian is делать. It could also be сделать. So it depends on the on what you are doing or the result or the process that you want to emphasize. If you're doing an unfinished action, then you're
Wow.
yeah.
I used to think English are the most complicated language, but now it's the easiest one.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Phil, I think you're breaking up, or maybe was it me? Hello, Raisa, can you hear me? Is it me or Phila?
Phila.
Okay, I think it's Phila. Hello, Phila, you are breaking up. Oh, he's gone. She's gone. Is he gone?
Hello, Brigita.
I think she just lost the connection or something.
Okay, maybe we can move on then.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, then thank you, Brigita, for the questions. And I'm now inviting the other audience. If you have any question, you may raise your hand or type your question in the chat box. Maybe while waiting for the others, if they have a question, I also have a question for you, Nanda, if I may.
Okay, Raisa.
So previously you mentioned that when you were listening to like Russian songs, the YouTube comments were saying that the translations are incorrect and it should be translated into something else. So does your object, the Medina song, is the translation of it is more like a exact translation, or is it more of a poetic, I mean like aesthetic wise translation that is meant for the song, or it is more of an interpretive translation?
Okay. I think from the lyrics, it is a more interpretative because I think I read an article like a long time ago that actually the song could be interpreted into two different meanings. The first one is Medina, right? I'm sorry, the title is Medina, right? Medina, if we are referring to Arabic, sorry, not Arabic, to Saudi Arabia, it means it's a holy place in Saudi Arabia, Medina. And then that's the first interpretation. So the song is talking about the Medina, the holy place in Arab. But the second, so a lost woman, let's say, a lost woman. So there's this man. Actually, he's searching for a woman named Medina. So yeah, it is more interpretative, and there are two interpretations about that.
Okay, so this is really interesting that can be translated like that. Okay, so now if there is anyone else in the audience that would like to ask a question, you may raise your hand or type in the chat box. Okay, we have a question from Nadia in the chat box. She said, "Hi Nanda, what a cool presentation. I can turn on my mic because I have something on hand. But I want to ask, since you mentioned about race text types, Do you think that the translation of these different text types in lines with Raisa's definition?
Okay, thank you, Nadia, for the question. That's a really interesting question. I think, yes, do you think that the translation? Yes, I think the translation really, not really, actually, it is parallel with the Raisa's definition because the expressive, like I mentioned in the song, the expressive means the purpose is to convey, not to convey, to express the author's feelings, and then the expressive, because it is expressive, it is interpretative, and when it's interpretative, the translation, it is natural because it is trying to what's that called, to stay the same with the source text, so it's a natural. So I think the definition of the what's that called, the expressive tag, I think is a parallel with the definition. And then for the second one, for the speech, because speech is a hybrid, and then it could be informative, it could be a combination between these three. And in my tag, in my object, the flash repeating speech, I think it is in line because first of all, it is informative because it provides facts, information, knowledge, and it is operative because celebration or a victory day is actually trying to memorize, not memorize, sorry, trying to reminisce the past. So the president Vladimir Putin is actually trying to appeal, or to trying to appeal the readers to reminisce the past of the past event of the Great Patriotic War. Yeah, I think it is parallel, in line. Is that clear, Nadia? Hello, Nadia. Are you there? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Nadia, for the question. And if there is anyone else who would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. And if not, we will be ending our session soon. Okay, I think there are no more questions from the audience. So once again, Nanda, thank you for your presentation and for answering the questions. Okay, this concludes our conference for today. So for the audience, thank you for joining our conference today. And now I will be handing the time back to Mr.